YouTube, it's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So we got some great news. As WBC, World Boxing Council, better known as the WBC, President MAURICIO SULAIMAN and the board have agreed to petition and meet with the WBO, World Boxing Organization, to order a showdown, a mega showdown that the world has been waiting for between their fighter, the WBC that is, undefeated, unified WBC IBF world champion, superstar boxer, who is 27 wins, no losses, no draws, 21 wins by way of knockout. He's 31 years of age, standing 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. That being none other than top 3 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr., and the WBO, undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Terence "Bud" Crawford, who is 37 wins, no losses, no draws, 28 wins by way of knockout. He's 34 years of age, stands at 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. Now, Terence Crawford is going into a highly anticipated title defense against 2-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Shawn Porter this Saturday night, Las Vegas, Nevada, Mandalay Bay Arena. Shawn Porter is 31 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, 17 wins by way of knockout. He too is 34 years of age, stands at 5'7" with a 69-inch arm reach. With that said, this is the biggest, toughest task of Terence Crawford's career thus far. Now, this is no walk in the park. We know Errol Spence Jr., he stated that he indeed intends to be ringside for this fight between Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter. Now, we know Errol Spence, he unified the belt against Shawn Porter back in September of 2019, which was a nip-and-tuck, action-packed fight of the year fight, in which Errol Spence, he dropped Shawn Porter in the 11th round and clearly, decisively won the 12th round, which separated himself in a fight that people had Shawn Porter up in that fight. So it was a very competitive fight, to many people's surprise. But with that said, the fight that everybody wants to see, the boxing world wants to see, is Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. Obviously, again, can't reiterate this enough, Terence Crawford has to get past Shawn Porter tonight. But with that said, MAURICIO SULAIMAN states that it's time for this fight to happen. They don't want to miss out on a big opportunity, and they are willing to contact the WBO and order this fight. Now, we heard reports that Terence Crawford and his team were going to reach out to the WBC should he get past Shawn Porter and replace Shawn Porter. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Shawn Porter is ranked #2 in the WBC rankings. Okay, and so Terence Crawford, should he beat Shawn Porter, he wants to replace Shawn Porter in that WBC rankings. Okay, so with that said, now the rankings have shifted because of this fight. Virgil Ortiz Jr., rising upcoming Mexican superstar title contender. Virgil Ortiz Jr., 18 wins, no losses, no draws, 18 wins by way of knockout, 24 years of age, standing 5'10" with a 70-inch arm reach. He's #1. Then you have 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Mikey Garcia at #2. How is Mikey Garcia at #2? I have no idea, because he's coming off of a loss, okay, to a guy that's relatively unknown. Then they have Avanesian at #3. Keith Thurman, former unified welterweight world champion superstar boxer, at #4. Danny Garcia, I don't understand how he is at #5 when he just lost to Errol Spence Jr. In his last fight in December. And then he lost his showdown with Shawn Porter for the vacant WBC title, yet he's still at #5. Then you have the phenom Jerron Boots Ennis at #6, okay? He is undefeated, rising superstar, title contender, 28 wins, no losses, no draws. Jerron Boots Ennis is at #6. So he's Errol Spence, Shawn Porter, he's not in he got dropped out of the ranking system because he's fighting Terence Crawford tonight. Okay, so that's how they operate. So we have they're maneuvering the pieces to the puzzle around right now. But Shawn Porter is number 2 still in the International Boxing Federation's with President Darryl Peoples. He's number 2 still in the IBF rankings, and that's the belt that Errol Spence holds at the IBF. Okay, so Shawn Porter is still ranked 2 in that sanctioned body. He was ranked 2 in the WBC. Now they don't have Shawn Porter ranked in the top 10 of the WBC rankings because he's fighting Terence Crawford tonight. Okay, with that said, Terence Crawford, he petitioned to be replaced, to replace Shawn Porter as the number 2 ranked WBC fighter. Okay, Shawn Porter is also ranked. Terence Crawford is, and Errol Spence, the Ring magazine, the lineal belt. Errol Spence is 1, Terence Crawford is 2, Ugas is 3. Those are all 3 champions. Obviously, Errol Spence holds the WBC and the IBF. Terence Crawford holds the WBO. Ugas holds the WBA, World Boxing Association's President Gilberto Mendoza, who was giving him the runaround in the shaft, to say the least. Okay, where he was already scheduled and had a deal in place, according to Ugas, to fight Errol Spence Jr. in a unification bout in February. But now they have made him enter a tournament and defend his title against a mandatory and Stanionis, who only has 13 fights. Shawn Porter is number 4 in the lineal runnings, and oddly enough, Jerron Boots Ennis is number 5 in that Ring magazine lineal running. Okay, so Terence Crawford, the reports is Terence Crawford, he was looking to petition the WBC to be placed in their ranking system should he beat Shawn Porter. He wants to replace Shawn Porter, and the WBC are on page to oblige him. Okay, they stated that they have no problem obliging him. They're willing to make this happen, and they said that, after this fight with Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford, should Shawn Porter be victorious, then they're more than willing to petition the WBO, work with the WBO, and make this fight happen. Now obviously they have to work with the IBF because Errol Spence has an IBF mandatory, and so he's going to have to, maneuver that IBF mandatory position as well. But this is definitely the fight that the fans, so the boxing world has been clamoring for this fight, and so with that said, this is a fight that needs to happen. There's so many fights that we missed out on. There's so many, big fights, opportunities that we never got. It never came to fruition. We had an undisputed, massive heavyweight showdown between Deontay Wilder, Olympic bronze medalist, former WBC reigning heavyweight world champion, superstar boxer, and you had 2-time unified heavyweight world champion, British superstar boxer Anthony Joshua for undisputed, and it never came to fruition because both guys lost. Okay, we had another massive showdown, unification showdown, not for undisputed, but unification showdown between now 2-time junior middleweight world champion, who was the unified junior middleweight champion, superstar boxer Jamel Lyons Only Charlo. He was supposed to unify against Swift Jarrett Hurd, who was the unified junior middleweight champion, a mega showdown, and they both lost, and we lost the opportunity. So we supposed to have the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight, and Manny Pacquiao ended up getting brutally knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez, had nothing else to lose, and therefore, by the time Floyd Mayweather fought him, the fight had lost some of its luster. So we have the Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe. That fight never came to fruition because of politics. This all too often. One time is too many times to miss out on these mega showdowns. So Terence Crawford is 34 years of age. Okay, we see there's nothing guaranteed. Obviously, we know there's nothing guaranteed. Tomorrow's not even promised. But when you look at it from this standpoint, and you say to yourself, Errol Spence suffered a horrific car accident just 10 days after unifying the belts against Shawn Porter. We didn't know how he was going to bounce back. He comes back, he fights Danny Garcia, he dominates Danny Garcia. Then he's supposed to go into a mega showdown with 8-division legendary iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, and he suffered a broken detached retina and has to be pulled from that fight. So injuries are starting to mount on Errol Spence Jr., and Terence Crawford is 34 years of age. If not now, when? Now is the time. So WBC President Mauricio Sulaiman said that he'll order the fight. He's going to petition the WBO to work together to make this fight come to fruition. Terence Crawford is going to be a network and promotional free agent after this fight tonight with Shawn Porter. So that shouldn't be, a roadblock unless he decides to re-sign with top-ranked legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter Bob Arum. But if he doesn't, this fight should be easy to make. So let's see. This is great news. Let's see how this plays out, and let's see if everything unfolds the way we hope it does. That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share the videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Oh, it is your boy Jada Kiss. Make sure you check out Blue Blood Sports TV. It's going down.